Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is April 6th. The Pirates call up Konnor Griffin, and they are the hottest team in baseball. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Some bad news for me. I am sick. My voice is not doing the hottest here, so we're gonna have to be really selective on what we choose to talk about choose to talk about today. We'll be getting a lot more of those in today's episode, so apologies on the behalf of my voice, and hopefully by the time we get to episode 303 come Friday, I will be good, healthy. My voice will be back to normal. I don't think it sounds too bad. It kind of came on Thursday. So yeah, hopefully not a long-term little throat bug right now, but besides the point, we've got baseball to talk about, and there was a lot that went down this weekend. Some fun things to talk about, and of course, it always starts with our series recap. Going back to last week, the Twins and Royals wrap up their three-game set with a 5-1 win from the Twins. They had three solo shots in the ninth from Matt Wallner, Cody Clemens, and Josh Bell. They win that game, but the Royals took 2 of 3 going back to Tuesday and Wednesday. On to this weekend now, you've got the Padres and the Red Sox. Wilson Contreras, he homers to break a 2-2 tie. Marcelo Mayer, his first home run of the year in a 5-2 Red Sox win. But here come the Padres as Laureano drives in a go-ahead run in the ninth in Game 2. As Miller, 3 strikeouts for the save. He's been doing that a lot. A 3-2 Padres win. And after the Red Sox scored 4 runs in the third in Game 3, the Padres scored 6 unanswered over 2 innings, including a 3-run go-ahead home run from Manny Machado. Red Sox tie it. Jackson Merrill, he hits a go-ahead home run in the 8th. Padres, an 8-6 victory, take 2 of 3 from Boston. Marlins and Yankees, Aaron Judge homers in his first Yankee Stadium at-bat this year. Ben Rice also goes deep in this game. The Yankees take their home opener with an 8-2 victory. A close back-and-forth game for Game 2. Bellinger homers for the Yankees. They come back from down 4. They win this one when they were out-hit 15 for the Marlins to 6. For the Yankees, they scored 9 runs. The Marlins walked 10 batters. Recipe for losing games. 9-7 Yankees in that one. Ben Rice hits another homer in Game 3. The Marlins take the lead after being down 3. They score 4 runs in the 8th to come back to win it and avoid the sweep, a 7-6 Miami win. Rays and Twins. The Twins unloaded this one with 7 runs in the 7th with the help of a Tristan Gray grand slam, as that calls game a 10-4 Twins victory. But here come the Rays as Yandy Diaz and Jonathan Aranda both get 2 RBIs in Game 2, part of a 7-1 Rays win. And in the last game, Matt Wallner hits a solo home run. Junior Caminero, a solo home run, his first of the year. A 1-1 tie into extras where Richie Palacios hits a 2-run home run for the lead for the Rays. They hold the Twins and win it 4-1, taking 2 of 3 from Minnesota. The Blue Jays and the White Sox. Andres Jimenez, a 2-run homer in the 8th, ties this game up for the Jays and forces extras. The Jays get a run while the White Sox would pick up a run on an error, followed by Tristan Peters winning it with a walk-off single for a home opener walk-off win for the White Sox. They beat the Blue Jays 5-4. Vladdy hits his first home run of the season, but Munetaka Murakami hits his 4th, and the young Colson Montgomery hits his 2nd as the White Sox take a 6-3 victory. And in the last game, the Blue Jays get shut out. They have no fun this weekend. They get swept by the White Sox, who win this one 3-0 and sweep the AL defending champion Blue Jays. What a series for Chicago. Cardinals and Tigers now. Dylan Dingler, he gets a home run. Framber Valdez goes 6 innings with no runs, part of a 4-0 Tigers win. In Game 2, it's a lot of firsts. Kerry Carpenter, Zach McKinstry, Gleyber Torres, and Matt Vierling, all 4 of them hit their first home runs of 2026, part of an 11-6 Tigers victory. The Cardinals, though, come back in the last game with 4 runs in the 5th. Their bullpen only gives up 1 hit through 4 innings. Impressive stuff from St. Louis as they avoid the sweep with a 5-3 victory. Brewers and Royals now. Garrett Mitchell scored all 5 of the Brewers' runs with a 2-run double and a 3-run homer, his first of the year in a 5-2 Brewers victory. That first game was actually rained out on the Friday, so we had our first doubleheader of 2026, and the second game on Saturday, the Royals answer back. Salvador Perez hits his second home run this year. That gave the Royals the lead late and started a 6-run sixth, part of an 8-2 Royals victory. And on to the rubber match. Gary Sanchez and Miguel Garcia trade 2-run homers in this one. The Brewers add 2 runs to their 1-run lead in the 9th, as those 2 runs are big insurance in a series win for Milwaukee with an 8-5 victory. Cubs and Guardians. Gabriel Arias gives the Guards the lead in the 7th with a solo home run, and he was not alone as Chase DeLauder adds to it his 5th homer of the season. Who is this kid? 4-1 Guardians win it. A game that only had 3 combined hits, one of which was a Miguel Amaya single in the 8th, the only run in this game as the Cubs take a 1-0 victory. As that Saturday game that I just talked about was rained out, so it was another doubleheader, this one on a Sunday. And for the Guardians, they come back in this one. The Cubs had 3 homers in this game. Matt Shaw, Dansby Swanson, and Ian Happ all homer, but the Guardians score 3 in the 6th and 3 in the 8th to take the lead as CJ Kafis homers to tie it. Gabriel Arias with the single gives them the lead late. Guardians win it 6-5 and take 2 of 3 from the Cubs. Reds and Rangers. Spencer Steer, Ellie De La Cruz, and Tyler Stevenson all homer for Cincy, part of a 5-3 victory. The Reds, they get 2 runs in the first inning in Game 2, and the pitching takes over in this one as those were the only 2 runs in a 2-0 Reds win. And in the last game, Jock Peterson hits his first home run of the season. That ties the game up at 7. The Reds, though, in the next inning, take the lead back with an Ellie De La Cruz single. The Reds finish off a sweep in Texas against the Rangers, win it 2-1. Astros and A's now. The A's score 11 runs across 4 straight innings, including a 6-run 4th with Lawrence Butler and Max Muncy both homering for the Athletics in an 11-4 victory. The Astros saw the A's score 11 runs in that first game and thought they should do it too, as Christian Walker and Cam Smith both homer. The Astros blank the A's and score 11 runs in an 11-0 victory. And in the last game, homers and comebacks galore in this one. Jordan homers to start the scoring in the 5th. The Astros would finish with 3 runs. The A's would score 5 to take the lead, but the Astros would tie it with 2 runs. Then the A's would score 4 runs to take the lead, to which the Astros would also score 4 runs to tie it. This one goes into extras where the Astros take the lead with 1 run, but Brent Rooker calls the game with a walk-off 3-run homer, his second homer of the game, part of a 12-10 A's win. Wild one as they take 2 of 3 from the Astros. Mariners and Angels. Woo and Detmers put on a pitching display which had us through 9 innings with no runs. The Mariners score 3 in the 10th with a Cole Young triple and a Josh Naylor 2-run single. The Angels only get 1. Mariners win it 3-1. Zach Neto hits a leadoff home run to start the game in Game 2. The Mariners hit 3 home runs, or they would have if it not for Jo Adell, who robbed not 1 home run from Cal Raleigh, not a second home run from Josh Naylor, but 3 home run robbing catches, saving the best for last in the 9th, jumping into the crowd to rob J.P. Crawford in a game the Angels won 1-0. He is the reason why, and the Angels would go for the rematch. Lots of scoring and back and forth in this one. Cole Young's first home run this year. The Angels were up by 1, but Julio hit a game-tying single in the 9th for extras. Both teams scoring in the 10th, but after the Angels held the Mariners in the 11th, Nolan Chanuel gets the win for the Halos with a walk-off sac fly, and this series, 8-7 Angels in 11, taking 2 of 3 from Seattle. Dodgers and Nationals. Shohei, Mookie, Andy Pages, Freddie Freeman, Kyle Tucker, all homering for the Dodgers. 13-6, the final. Tucker's first home run as a Dodger. The Dodgers score 6 unanswered in the first 3 innings of Game 2 as Andy Pages homers again, part of a 10-5 victory. And in the last game, Shohei hits another home run. The Dodgers were down 5 in this one, thanks to some homers from Luis Garcia Jr. and James Wood. But here come the Dodgers as Dalton Rushing and Teoscar both homer. The Dodgers score 7 unanswered for a comeback win and the series sweep over the Nationals. 8-6 Dodgers. What a win. Orioles and Pirates now. The Pirates home opener and the MLB debut for the number 1 prospect Konnor Griffin, and in his first ever MLB bat, gets his first MLB hit, a double that scored a run. The next batter, Jared Trioler, drove him in as the Pirates score 4 runs in the inning. Oilers came close to coming back but finished a run short in a 5-4 victory for the Pirates. They were down 2 in Game 2. They end up tying it in the 8th, and in the 9th they would get the walk-off win on a Nick York double for the win. 3-2 Pirates, and they go for the sweep and get it as Ryan O'Hearn and O'Neal Cruz both homer. The Pirates are the hottest team in baseball, finishing the sweep of Baltimore 8-2 Pittsburgh. Nets and Giants, a 4-game set, picked up 3 in the first, where the Giants, after falling behind 1-0 in this one, Devers hits his first home run of the year, a 7-2 Giants win. Marcus Semien goes deep for the Mets. Francisco Alvarez, a 2-homer game, Simeon's first as a Met, part of a 10-3 New York victory. In Game 3, the Mets scored 5 in the 5th, including a Tyrone Taylor home run, as they blanked the Giants 9-0. And in the last game, the Mets come back with 4 runs in the 8th as they lose Game 1 but win Games 2, 3, and 4, taking 3 of 4 from the Giants. 5-2 the final in that last game. Phillies and Rockies, and the Phillies open this series with 7 runs in the first, including Brandon Marsh's first home run of 2026. Both Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber also go deep later in this one, part of a 10-1 Phillies win. The Phillies then broke the tie in the 5th in Game 2 on a Trey Turner double and pitched their way to the win from there, holding the Rockies to 1 in a 2-1 Philly win. And in the last game, TJ Rumfield, he would go deep. Mickey Moniak picks up home runs number 1 and 2 on the year, as those 3 homers give the Rockies the win. They avoid the sweep, a 4-1 Colorado win. Lastly, we have the Braves and D-backs, who also played a 4-game set. The Braves scored 8 runs in the 5th and hit 4 homers in this game. Matt Olson, Dominic Smith, Mauricio Dubon, and Jorge Mateo in a 17-2 Braves win. Absolute belt to ass. 2 solo shot homers in Game 2 in the 9th. One from Ozzie Albies, one from Matt Olson. Those were the first 2 and only 2 runs in this game in a 2-0 Braves win. For Game 3, we have more great pitching, as all 3 runs in this game came in the 2nd inning. 1 for the Braves and a 2-run RBI single for Jose Fernandez as the D-backs take a 2-1 win. And in the last game, Drake Baldwin was the player of the game for sure, going 3 for 5 with a home run and 4 RBIs, as well as a game-tying single in the 9th to bring it to extras. But in the end, the Diamondbacks would hold on. Ketel Marte wins it with a walk-off double, as the Diamondbacks take a 6-5 victory in extras and split the 4-game set with the Braves 2 apiece for your series recap. All right, now let's get to the game of the weekend. We're heading to Sacramento for the Astros and the Athletics in the road match on Sunday, Game 3. We start in the top of the 5th. Yordan Alvarez, his 4th home run of the season, a 2-run shot puts the Astros up 2. Later in the inning, Cam Smith, an RBI single. It's 3-0 Houston, but the A's get going right away in the bottom of the 5th. Carlos Cortez An RBI double makes it 3-1. Then Tyler Soderstrom gets a bases clearing triple as 3 runs score. The Athletics take a 4-3 lead, and then Brent Rooker delivers a sac fly to make it 5-3. The Athletics. Top of the seventh, Christian Walker, his second home run of the year, second home run of the series. A 2-run shot ties this game up at 5. But in the bottom of the seventh, Brent Rooker hits his first home run of the season. A 2-run shot puts the Athletics right back up by 2. And they weren't done there as Jeff McNeil picks up an RBI single to make it 8-5. And then Carlos Cortez, an RBI single, makes it 9-5 as the A's put up 4 runs to take a 4-run lead. But the Astros are right away on it. In the top of the 8th, Jake Myers hits his first home run on the year to make it 9-6. Then Jose Altuve picks up an RBI double to make it 9-7. And then Cam Smith comes through again. A 2-run single ties this game up at 9, back-to-back 4-run innings. It stays 9-9 as we go into extras where Carlos Correa joins in on the fun. He picks up an RBI single to make it 10-9 Houston. They're looking for the save, but with 2 runners on, Brent Rooker comes up and blasts a ball to deep left for a 3-run walk-off home run, his second home run of the game. A 12-10 Athletics win over the Astros to finish off their first homestand of 2026, taking 2 of 3 from the Astros. That, ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt, is your game of the weekend. Let's talk about the news, and we're starting with the big news. The Pittsburgh Pirates, ahead of their home opener on Friday, called up MLB's number 1 prospect, Konnor Griffin. I gave the Pirates a lot of, not nice words ahead of the season when they announced that he would start the season in AAA. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh, I was not familiar with your game because what he did in those 5 games in AAA was going 7 for 16 with 3 doubles, an RBI, 4 runs. He hit .438 and a 1.196. They just gave him an extra week to get hot before coming up to the majors. That's exactly what they did. It was a very smart decision in hindsight, as the 19-year-old became the first teenager to play in Major League Baseball since Juan Soto in 2000 and what was it, 18 when Soto made his debut with the Nationals, 2018, 2019, one of those 2 years. And he's been around for a long time already. But yes, Konnor Griffin, I mean, what can you say? His minor league numbers in 127 games, he's got 168 hits, 26 doubles, 21 homers, 95 RBIs. His batting average is .336 with a .950 OPS. And by the way, he was only drafted, I believe, in 2024. Last year was his first year in the minors. He's already shot through the organization in just the 1 year and is already at Major League Baseball. Not only that, but on the same day he received the call that he was coming up to the majors, he also signed a 9-year, $140 million deal, which has a lot of significance for a lot of reasons. For starters, it's a new record for the largest contract ever given out to a player before they make their major league debut. It's the highest amount ever given out by the Pirates, the largest contract in their franchise's history. It's also continuing this trend of young kids getting, major extensions here in what is a looming CBA deal at the end of this year. We've seen it with the Brewers and Cooper Pratt. We've seen it with the Mariners and Cole Emerson. We've now seen it with the Pirates here and Konnor Griffin, and I'm assuming we'll see a lot more as the season goes on. I think it's pretty important for the Pirates to be the one that does this as well. Yes, there's always risks when you're signing these big contracts to young kids like this. and it has the potential to backfire, but also has the potential to be an absolute steal. Look at the Braves and what they did with Acuna and Ozzy Albies, signing them on large contracts when they were young, and it's paid out, I would say, pretty well for Atlanta. We've seen it some time and time again come up through. And when you go back to all of like the young teenage kids that have gotten the call, guys like Juan Soto and Bryce Harper, guys who've gotten to the major league level at age 19 or even younger, a lot of those times, those, you know, prospects and these young kids perform at an extreme level and they make a huge impact. Look at Chris Bryant in the 2016 Cubs and the way they won the World Series. Look at Steven Strasburg. How good was he with the Nationals, helping them win their first ever World Series in 2019? So a lot of things go into these decisions. And for the Pirates, I mean, you're in a position where you know already talking about Paul Skeens and what's his deal is going to look like, where does he go, when do they trade him, all these rumors and stuff. The best way to appease fans, you know, lock up a number one prospect like Konnor Griffin overall and see what kind of impact he's going to have for your team. He immediately on Friday, his first major league game, his first major league at bat, on the fifth pitch he sees in the big leagues, ropes his first MLB hit, a RBI double. And so far, the Pirates are 3-0 since he got the call. Obviously, they swept this week against Baltimore here. And, you know, obviously it's early on into the season. I go back to 2024 with the Pirates. They were the third best team after 3 weeks of the season. They were 11-5 through those first 3 weeks. And then that week, to finish off the first official month of the season, they lost 6 straight games. They went from 11-5 to 11-11, and they never really recovered. Obviously, we could be looking at a similar situation this year, but right now, the Pirates are the hottest team in baseball. They started the year 1-3 before now being on the MLB best 5-game winning streak. They're 6-3. They're just 1 game back of the Brewers, and obviously we still have 150 plus games to go. But you throw in this nice contract, you throw in Konnor Griffin, now you mix in Paul Skeens, like these Pirates that we were, you know, at the start of the season being like, oh, watch out, they could be sneaky good. You know, they start 1-3. We're like, what were we saying? The Pirates aren't going to be good. Here they are, 5 straight. You call up Konnor Griffin. There's a lot of hype right now surrounding PNC Park, and for good reason. It is important to note that Konnor Griffin, after his RBI double and his first major league run scored, he then proceeds to go 0-8 the rest of the series with 2 strikeouts. But again, he just got the call. He's just starting to adjust now to major league level. Expect great things from Konnor Griffin. He's definitely going to be another rookie in the hunt for Rookie of the Year. So many amazing rookies. We're having one of the best years for rookies, I think, in 2026. Watch out for them. Watch out for Konnor Griffin, and watch out for these Pittsburgh Pirates. They might be sneaky good here. Another player that was sneaky good this weekend comes in LA. What a game from Jo Adell. It's worth talking about here because he robbed not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs from the Mariners. It's maybe the best defensive game in MLB history. You know, I don't think we have found another one that comes close. Like, absolutely just insane game from Jo Adell. Zach Neto, he homers in the first to get the Angels a 1-0 lead. Cal Raleigh later in this one hits it to deep right field at the wall. Jo Adell makes a leaping catch to rob Cal Raleigh, who hit 60 home runs last year, robs him of his first homer this year and keeps the game tied at 1. Later on, Josh Naylor, still looking for his first home run of the season. He blasts one similar spot to where Cal Raleigh hit his. Adell, once again, back at the wall, leaping, jumping, catching, and robbing a second home run in this game to keep the score at 1-0. We go on now to the top of the 9th. Jordan Romano pitching. It is still 1-0 as J.P. Crawford crushes one down the right field line. This one was the most different compared to the other 2 catches, but Jo Adell running over at the corner there in Angel Stadium He leaps into the fans and into the crowd and robs J.P. Crawford of what would have been a game-tying home run in the ninth. And in a game where they won 1-0, if Adell's not there, if all three of those home runs count, now it's 3-1. The Mariners win that game probably. That home run in the ninth from Crawford is that insurance run for the Mariners. So even if the Angels were able to score one run in the ninth, they still end up losing that game 3-2. Jo Adell was the reason they won that game. All three catches absolutely crazy. Of course, the last one stands out as like the one to remember here. But what's been really fun about it all is seeing a bunch of people posting highlights and stuff. More sort of lowlights of Jo Adell, because when he first got called up, I mean, he was this power prospect, all the power in the world, but had sloppy defense. And they're showing all these miscues and mistakes that Adell used to make in the outfield. He's had a couple of instances where a ball has hit him in the head or off the glove and have gone over the wall for home runs. He's made some pretty big blunders in the outfield before, and now you overthrow these three catches into this game. It's very impressive. It's for the first time in Major League history that the same player has robbed three homers in the same game. It was absolutely insane to see. Shout out Jo Adell. That's how you do it, man. Welcome to the Major Leagues. Not really welcome to the Major Leagues, but like that is just such an impressive feat for him and for the Angels to have now. Really cool, really epic. Good for Jo Adell and good for the Halos. They've been playing an okay brand of baseball here to start the year. Mixing up the good with the bad. The last thing to talk about here was Royals prospect, their number one prospect, Konnor Jensen. On Thursday's game against the Twins, he was scheduled to catch. Salvador Perez scheduled to DH. But an hour before the game, Jensen was scratched, and Perez was then asked to do the catching, or was then doing the catching. Konnor Jensen in this one came into the game in the ninth inning. Later found out that the reason why he was scratched and the reason why he didn't catch was because he ended up oversleeping his alarm and was not there before the game started. Didn't have enough time to prepare and get ready to catch. So Perez, who was scheduled to designated hit, was then forced to catch. And there was a lot of people talking about this one. Obviously, manager Matt Quattro, his quote saying he was overslept, wasn't here on time, and we made the decision to scratch him from the lineup. He went on to say he's a stand-up guy and a really hard worker, a great kid. He feels terrible. He's accountable to it. It's not something that has been a pattern or any kind of stuff. Nobody feels worse than he does, and I think he'll admit to that, and we'll move on. It was essentially like that. Jensen said there's no running from it. Just didn't wake up to my alarm, slept through it. Don't really have an excuse, nor should I. It sucks, happens. I felt like I let my teammates down, coaches down. Just learn from it, and no, it won't happen again. What came up actually was funny during spring training when, social media managers and the teams, they do their little games as guys show up to the field and everything. One of the questions was, how many alarms do you usually set to wake up? Konnor Jensen walked into the diamond. He said 6, maybe even more, because he has a hard time waking up. That clip has resurfaced and has been kind of the talk here. One of the leaders of this clubhouse, I would say maybe even the leader of this clubhouse outside of Salvador Perez, becoming more so, is Vinny Pasquantino. He had some quotes about the matter as well. You got a 36-year-old catcher preparing to DH today, and then his world gets a little rocked an hour and a half before the game that he's not going to be DHing. Credit to Salvi today for being ready. First and foremost, we're glad Carter's okay, right? That was kind of the initial thought when you're trying to get a hold of his parents and everything like that. But once you find out he's okay, it's like, all right, growing moment. And that's, I think, kind of the leader approach and kind of the outcome of the story here. Yes, it's a bad look. Yes, it's not ideal, but he knows he messed up. The team knows he messed up. Everybody knows he messed up. And it's one of those things where it's like, you're young, it does happen, you learn from it, you move on. And I think that's the most important thing here. The quotes are great. Obviously, it is funny as an outsider's perspective, seeing that clip of him being like, about 5, 6 alarms, even more. And then here you are a week into the season and he's sleeping through an alarm and missing a game and causing his team some panic. And Vinny said it the best, when you're getting close to the game time and you're wondering, hey, where is this guy? You're calling him, he's not picking up. Your mind will start to wonder, like, what happened? What's the worst case scenario? Because in the digital age that we're in, everyone has their phone and everything. A guy's not picking up, you got to wonder, like, did he get into a major car accident? Did something bad happen? And, like, that's where your mind goes into first. Once you realize it's okay, then it's like, okay, well, you kind of messed up a big time here. And he knows that. The team knows that. Everybody knew it. But in the end, it's a learning moment. It's a growing moment. He'll move on. And this is something that we'll definitely be able to put in the past for Konnor Jensen here. As, he went on the next day that he played and hit an RBI double right away to kind of make up for things. So that is the Konnor Jensen saga there. As we'll move on into the rest of the episode here, let's start with the hot and colds from the week, the first official week here. Ben Rice from the Yankees, the hottest player this week, 7 for 15 with 3 doubles, 3 homers, picked up 9 RBIs, 8 runs, 8 walks, and had a 1.919 OPS. Absolutely insane numbers from Ben Rice. Yordan Alvarez follows behind him, 6 for 12 with 2 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 6 runs, and 7 walks, a 1.834 OPS. Those two guys on another level this week. O'Neal Cruz was 9 for 21 with 4 homers, 10 RBIs, 7 runs, a 1.478 OPS, the most homers and RBIs from the week belonging to the Pittsburgh Pirates center fielder. Andy Paez has been a Dodger that's been stepping up in a big way after having a very forgettable 2025 postseason. He has a great week, going 12 for 20 with 2 doubles, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, and 5 runs, part of a 1.636 OPS. And lastly, Xavier Edwards from a Miami team, which is 10 for 19, 2 doubles, a homer, 5 RBIs, 5 runs, and a 1.339. You flip it on to the cold side. Jose Caballero was hitless, 0 for 17 this week. The only hitless player, I believe, with enough at-bats. He also struck out 6 times. Jake Cronenworth from the Padres was 1 for 18 with 2 strikeouts. Dansby Swanson, 1 for 18 with 9 strikeouts. That one, of course, a home run. Alex Freeland was 1 for 15 with 8 strikeouts. And Cal Raleigh continues his cold start to the year. He was 1 for 21 with 9 strikeouts. Continued tough look for Raleigh as the Mariners try to get him up and going here. We'll move on into some injury updates from the week here. Important things to note as well. Blue Jays, Addison Barger, Mets, Juan Soto, and Mike Trout from the Angels all left games this weekend with little injuries and stuff going on. None of them are ended up on the IL. All are considered day-to-day and should be good to go, hopefully. Mike Trout had a couple of issues with the Mariners and their pitching because his cold spot is up and in. And when you're throwing a ball up and in, you miss your spot. Guess what? It could end up close to the head, on the hands, in which case that's where Mike Trout was hit by the pitch before he left that game. And his quote was saying, if you're going to throw up and in, you better not miss. Otherwise, don't throw there. I agree with Mike Trout. I think it's very dangerous, especially for a guy who is so good yet always ends up hurt. The last thing anyone across baseball wants to see is Mike Trout get hurt. Let him go out there and hit 50 home runs. Do not be afraid to pitch to him. And if he beats you because he's Mike Trout. I'd rather him beat you than you injure him again, because nobody wants that. But there were plenty of injuries, unfortunately, from this week. This weekend, including Justin Verlander from the Tigers. He lands on the 15-day IL with hip inflammation. Hunter Brown, the Astros are losing their ace on the 15-day IL with a strained shoulder. Jordan Lawler, he's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured right wrist. Blue Jays took a big blow. They lose Alejandro Kirk, their catcher, on the 10-day IL, a fractured left thumb. Not sure on the timetable yet for him. Cade Horton from the Cubs on the 15-day IL with a strained forearm. Mookie Betts, similar to Trout, Soto, and Barger, he did leave a game with a slight injury. No one thought much of it. He then was placed on the 10-day IL with a strained oblique. So the Dodgers are going to be losing Mookie Betts for a little bit. Some big stuff there. As we now move on to our outstanding performances from the weekend here. Bryan Woo, 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs, a walk, and 6 Ks. He was going up against Reed Detmers, 6 2/3, 3 hits, no runs, 4 walks, and 4 Ks. Nice little pitcher's duel there. Aaron Nola continues his success from the Italian World Baseball Classic, with the Phillies going 6 1/3, 5 hits, a run, a walk, and 9 strikeouts. Very good there. Jeffrey Springs from the Athletics, 6 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 7 Ks. Eduardo Rodriguez from the Diamondbacks, 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and 3 Ks. Grant Holmes was his opponent that day from the Braves, 6 innings, a hit, no runs, 3 walks, and 4 Ks. Another little pitcher's duel there. Clay Holmes from the Mets, 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. Steven Matz from the Rays, 6 innings, 2 hits, a run, 2 walks, and 8 Ks. How about Jesus Luzardo, 6 2/3, 5 hits, a run, no walks, and 11 strikeouts. The most strikeouts we saw from a pitcher this weekend. Bryce Elder from the Braves, 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and 8 Ks. Slade Ciciani from the Guardians, 6 innings, only 1 hit, no runs, a walk, and 6 Ks. Another pitcher's duel here between Chase Burns and Jack Leiter. Burns, 6 innings, 5 hits, a run, a walk, and 9 Ks. Jack Leiter, 5 innings, 4 hits, a run, a walk, and 9 Ks. And lastly, how about Tomoyuki Sugano from the Rockies? In Coors Field against the Phillies, he went 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 5 Ks. Pretty impressive when you add up all of those other factors here. As we will now move into our standings check. More of an official first standings check here, as there's been more games. We have 8 teams that have played 10 games and have 152 left to go. The other 22 games, or 22 players, teams, other 22 teams have played 9 games and have 153 games left to go, so still young on the season. The Yankees are hot. They're one of the 3 best teams in baseball with a 7-2 record and already a 3-game lead over a sluggish AL East start. The Rays and Blue Jays both 4-5. Baltimore 3-6, and Boston, currently the 30th team in baseball. They are 2-7 and are off to the worst start across the 30 teams here. In the Central, the Guardians are 6-4. They are leading the way with the Royals, White Sox, and Tigers all right behind them at 4-5, with the Minnesota Twins at 3-6. So some work there for the Twins to do here still, but close race early on. The AL West is led by the Astros at 6-4. Angels at 5-5. They sit at 500, with the Rangers at 4-5, the Mariners at 4-6, and the Athletics at 3-6. So that's the AL West there. NL East is still led by the Miami Marlins after losing 2 of 3 against the Yankees. They're looking to bounce back. They're 6-3 and still first in the East, thanks to the Mets and Braves having played 2 extra games, or 1 extra game each, and both losing them. They're both 6-4. The Phillies are at 5-4, and the Nationals, after starting 3-1, have lost 5 straight. They're now 3-6. So far, the NL East has been the best division in baseball. You've got 3 teams with 6 wins and 1 team with 5. I don't think any other division comes close to that. The AL East has a team with 7. The Central has a team with 6. The West has a team with 6 and a team with 5. I guess the NL Central is your closest next bet, because the Brewers are 7-2, the exact same as the Yankees. Pirates and Reds are both 6-3 in second. The Cardinals at 5-4 are in fourth, and the Cubs at 4-5. So that's the only division where there is not 3 or less wins in baseball. The Cubs are currently the best fifth overall team in each division here. The NL West, the Dodgers, like the Brewers and Yankees, those are the three teams leading the way at 7-2. Diamondbacks have bounced into a 5-5. Padres at 4-5. Rockies at 3-6, and the Giants are 3-7. The reason they're not the 30th ranked team in baseball is because they've played one more game than Boston and they've won it. So the highlights here: Boston 2-7, Giants 3-7, the two worst teams in baseball as it stands. Dodgers, Brewers, and Yankees all 7-2. That is the leading records among baseball. NL East and NL Central are the two divisions that have gotten off to the best starts of 2026 thus far. Those 10 teams killing it. And that is your standings check here, which will bring us to the last thing: the upcoming series, what to watch this week. And there is a big series to watch this week. The Dodgers are heading back to Toronto. The World Series rematch happening already here in the fourth series of the year. Dodgers and Blue Jays played 7 amazing games, and it led to a Dodgers World Series ring. Blue Jays will want some revenge, although they are coming off a sloppy series against the White Sox, including a couple injuries and some miscues there. Not only are the Blue Jays and Dodgers going back at it, but we are back at the Trop. That's right. The Cubs are in Tampa Bay to play the Rays, and it's not at Steinbrenner. The Tropicana Field is fixed and ready for baseball. That will be fun for Rays fans to be back at their home ballpark properly. The Brewers are in Boston to take on the Red Sox. The Athletics are going on to face one of those 3 best teams in the Yankees. Oilers, coming off a fresh getting swept by the Pirates, will now have to place the White Sox, who are coming off a sweep of the AL defending Blue Jays. So watch out there. Royals at Guardians, Tigers at Twins as the AL Central goes head-to-head. You get the Mariners at the Rangers. The Braves are going to play the Angels. D-backs at Mets. Cardinals at Nationals. Reds at Marlins could be a fun one there. The Padres are going into Pittsburgh to face the red-hot Pirates and Konnor Griffin, as well as Paul Skeens in this series. That's a fun one. Phillies will go on to face the Giants, and the Astros head to Colorado to take on the Rockies. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for our episode here today. Thank you everybody so much. Once again, apologies for my voice if this episode sounded a little bit worse. Hopefully we'll be better and more healthy and not sick for the next episode on Friday. But we are continuing to get more and more into the baseball season. As you could say, the first official week is definitely in the books, and now you've gotten 2 weekend stands. You're getting more into the day-to-days here in the baseball season. We're kind of entering that, first official jump into the season, and now getting into, okay, it's still early, but let's play good baseball, because we don't want to be ending April, 10-20 and a long way to go the rest of the season. So that is where we're at right now in the season. Thank you, everybody, so much. And I will see you on Friday.